Finally, we are now talking about the show Hazbinhotel. Been wanting to talk about this for a while now. For those who don't know, I did a Hazbinhotel video before. The idea was that I was going to split it into 2 parts, but never did the second video, and I'm glad I didn't.
Know your place, trash.
Like my first Hazbinhotel video was terrible in so many ways. The script, the quality, the editing, the audio, my overall takes, terrible. This was my second ever commentary video and it was clear I did not know what I was doing. But now that it's been some time, I've rewatched season 1, I have new takes and I can't wait to share them with you. You can play the video in the background or watch it, whatever suits you. So without further ado, let's talk about my issues with Hazbinhotel. Spoilers ahead. Okay, so I was a VZPop fan for years. I loved the art, watched the speed paint videos, watched the Die Young video, and everything. So I already knew a lot of the characters that you're gonna see in the show. And when I first watched the pilot all those years ago, I was really excited for the actual show because the pilot was fun to watch. And then 4 years later, the show finally came out. I watched the full season and originally thought it was good, but I was seeing it from rose tinted glasses. But without those rose glasses, there is a lot of issues, and now I see for what the show actually is. This show is a major disappointment. Oh, not this again! The first problem I have with this show is that it kind of expects you to know who everyone is. If you haven't seen the pilot or been a fan of VZPop before, you're kind of just thrown into this with no introduction, and you just gotta try to learn who everyone is and what's going on. When you first start the show, everyone is just kind of there. You don't know who any of them are or their names. The pacing of this show really isn't helping with this issue. It feels so fast but slow at the same time. For example, if you didn't watch the pilot, you don't learn more about Alistair until episode 5 of the show. Why do we as the viewers have to wait so long for some pretty important lore of him? And the character that explains this character lore, it just randomly shows up in the same episode named Mimsy, who is a character who actually was in the pilot briefly and has plenty of art of her. If you pay attention to some of the things the characters say, you realize that this show is throughout the span of 6 months, but it honestly feels like a week. Adam says during the court scene in episode 6 that they'll be coming down for Extermination Day and that they're going for the hotel first in the next month. Episode 7, one of the egg characters revealed that he's told Serpentius months ago that he learned angels can be killed. This show is too fast and clunky. The ending of season 1 feels so undeserved. Like I felt like I was watching the end of the show entirely rather than the end of season 1. The major characters feel like they don't have enough time to actually develop better, and when they do, it isn't much or it's kind of undeserved. Like something bad can happen and then immediately everything just gets resolved and everything is okay. Yay to the power of friendship. So for a summary, the show starts off with the backstory of Heaven and one angel that we know as Lucifer, who was a rebellious angel and had many ideas, however was not allowed to go through with them, watching the other angels do things the way they want to. Meanwhile, the first man and the first woman is made, Adam and his first wife Lilith. Adam demands Lilith to submit, but she refuses. Because of her independence, Lucifer and Lilith fall in love and give Eve, who is Adam's second wife, the apple, which causes evil to infect Earth. As a punishment, the angels send Lilith and Lucifer into the evil pit they created. Lucifer loses his will to create, never being able to see the good of the world anymore. Meanwhile, Lilith thrived and spread her word in song. Her dreams get passed down to her daughter, which we know as the main character Charlie. Because of all the sinners accumulating more and more, Heaven decides every year they came down to exterminate as much as possible to keep the population down. Charlie wants to open a hotel to rehabilitate sinners. They can have the chance to go to heaven to have better lives, meaning there won't be a need for exterminations. Honestly, very interesting plot, but the actual execution of it, that's the problem. It's not very good. The show tries to make the angels this huge threat, especially when they move the extermination every 6 months instead of a year. These are supposed to be villains that Charlie and any sinner should fear, but in all honesty, they kind of suck. Like, it goes with the whole, oh, heaven isn't what it seems, that it's actually corrupted, and they don't believe in second chances. And while the plot is interesting, there isn't really any nuance or argument against why this isn't a good idea. Charlie is naive and wants to see the good in everyone, but maybe there's a lot of sinners here who actually deserve to be here. and just don't want to change? Like, if we really were to think about it, do these sinners really deserve to go to heaven? While I understand that these are Charlie's people and that she doesn't want the extermination to continue, let's be honest, there's a lot of people here who deserve it. Like, this is the world that has the most heinous of evil. People who've killed evil rulers, war criminals. I can keep going with the amount of different crimes they could have committed. How much redemption could possibly be enough to redeem people like this who potentially ruined so many lives when they were alive? We don't know what a lot of these people did. This is the same problem with the angels in episode 6. It's revealed that no one here actually knows how to get into heaven. So there is the possibility that people who didn't deserve to get into heaven actually end up getting in. No one makes this argument once in the show. How can heaven be so strict and yet they are potentially letting in horrible people in without punishment? It just helps lessen the authenticity of heaven even more than it already is. And it kind of just makes the extermination even more useless. But the plot is one of my first gripes with this show. Let's talk about the characters. And don't worry, we will get into their designs. Remember in my helluvaboss is a helluva failure video, I said that VeZePop herself said that Hazbinhotel is going to be a female oriented show, and that's why helluvaboss focuses on her male characters. But like I said in that video, it's no excuse to have very boring one note characters, but it isn't just the female characters, it's some of the male characters too. Now don't get me wrong, not every character is boring, like for example Vaggie. Her backstory is at least a little interesting, that she used to be one of the extermination angels and she was afraid of Charlie learning about this. As cool as a character like Vaggie is, she and the other characters just didn't really stuck with me. Like, if you were to ask me who's my favorite Hazbinhotel character, I wouldn't have an answer. And oh boy, is the main character Charlie boring. Like, no joke, I honestly find her boring. Yes, she has her moments of standing up to others. It also feels like she's being sidelined in her own show. Like, she's supposed to be the main character, but sometimes it feels like she isn't. As much as I don't like Angel Dust, and don't worry, we will get into why, he definitely feels like more of an interesting character than Charlie. There's a lot of conflict with his character and him being forced to be Valentino's plaything and not wanting to be like this. Him making friends, getting along with other demons in the hotel, even Serpentius, who originally he didn't trust him, even standing up to Valentino near the end of the season. You really get to see development with him at least. Characters like Husk, Mimsy, or Nifty, you know barely anything about them. With Husk, all you know is he used to have power and was an overlord, but was losing it, so he made a deal with Alistor to stay afloat. When working on a script, I legit forgot Nifty's name because that's how incredibly forgetful she is. She's obsessive with guys, and she likes to clean and kill bugs. That's it. Emily is just a heaven version of Charlie. Like, seriously, these two are basically the same character. But also she's kind of dumb. Like, she literally calls the sinners innocent people when she finds out about the extermination. Which, no it or not, we've established this already. Cherry Bomb is Angel Dust's friend, and she loves bombs. Serpentius is supposed to be a lover of inventing things, but he barely does that? I almost forgot he did that. That's how little it's shown. Also, he loves Cherry Bomb for whatever reason. It's not explained. It just kind of happens. Just like helluvaboss, Hazbinhotel is a lot of tell-on show. They even has Husk be this wise bartender and literally tells everyone in the hotel what's wrong with them, which defeats the whole purpose of a character development. The character is supposed to learn for themselves what their issues are and actively try to resolve it to be better. I'm not gonna go through every major character, but you can see the point. This show is so fast that it doesn't have time to really develop its characters properly. It only being 7 episodes for season 1 did this show really dirty. Now, there is something I've really wanted to get into. The designs. Oh, these designs. A good 80% of the show, it's just the color red, 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 red. This show makes me so tired of the color red or other colors close to it like pink or maroons. Oh, and the suits. Oh my god, there are so many characters in some sort of suits. And I'm someone who likes drawing suits on characters, but why do so many characters have one? Especially pinstripe suits for some reason. While I understand they look nice and all, but these are sinners after all. They are from different ethnic backgrounds, different time periods, different fashion trends, so why is there such a lack of uniqueness? I understand that they have to keep it animation friendly, but that doesn't mean to make such boring and underwhelming designs. Another thing is that so many characters kind of have that same extremely skinny body type, and there really isn't much variations of body types when it comes to the main cast, except Nifty because she's very short and Mimsy having more of a curvy body type. However, she's literally only in one episode so far. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't dislike every design. Designs like Rosie is rather cute. The design for Sarah and Emily in the Angel background characters, cute and colorful. But there's a lot of designs I find so underwhelming or downright confusing. For example, let's talk about Alistar. Now, if you were to just look at his design and you knew nothing about the character, would you be able to tell he's a deer-themed demon? And yes, while he does have the ears, even with the antlers, it's still kind of hard to see, and it's only more noticeable when he goes into his more monstrous form. Another example we can use is Nifty. Would you be able to tell that she's supposed to be inspired by a bug or an alien? There's nothing in her design that really indicates any of this. Back then, I thought she was just a Cyclops demon. Would it have hurt to give her some antennas? One more example is Serpentius. So from what I can gather about him, he died in the 1800s and was a lover of inventions, obviously. His design does not say that. Like, aside from the goggles, if you were to look at his design at face value, would you be able to tell? Not to mention the goggles are very hard to see anyways. And why does he have a pinstripe suit? That was not a fashion trend during his time. Honestly, before this, I didn't know what time period he was from. Not every character needs a suit. Another thing I don't like about these designs is that nothing about them has references of their ethnic backgrounds. Did you know that Nifty was Japanese? Or that Alistar was from a mixed background? Without actually looking up more about these characters, you really don't know much about them. And honestly, you shouldn't have to research such basic information of these characters to find this out. It should already be shown to you. Now, here's some information to know. Pride is one of the 7 rings, and each ring has a different color it sticks to. Something I will praise helluvaboss for is that we get to see the other rings in different colors. We also get to see different city structures and how demons born there live. The problem I have with Hazbinhotel is that it takes place in the Pride ring, and while I understand the color of that ring is red, why do all the sinners dress up in the same colors or similar to it? When I watched the show, I was really looking for any background characters in the Pride ring that didn't have some sort of red, and guys, it was difficult. Oh, and Lucifer, he gets the worst of this. Nothing in his design says that he's the Lucifer. He honestly just looks like any other overlord, and that's sad. He's honestly just this goofball. If you really look at him, Charlie and his wife Lilith, they all look related, like they could be siblings, which is a design trope I really don't like. Honestly, if you told me before I learned about this show that they were siblings, I'd believe you. There's such thing as other colors, I promise you. Using more variety of colors really helps make everyone more distinct from each other, and their designs help tell their stories to give you an idea of their personalities and etc. The villains, I kind of find a little mediocre in this season, but hopefully it'll be better in season 2. So I'm gonna go over the major ones. By far my least favorite villain has to be Adam, and I don't dislike him for being a villain. I hate him because how incredibly annoying he is. Like, how is this Adam? As in the first man Adam. The best way I could possibly describe him is that he acts like a college frat boy, and when you see his face, he honestly looks like one too. To me, he looks better with the mask on. Almost everything that comes out of his mouth is some sort of sexual joke or a swear, and it gets tiring fast. Every time I see him on screen, I want to turn off the TV. There's a scene in episode 6 when Charlie is in the Heaven Court and she swears. Sarah and Emily look at her in shock for saying the F word, but meanwhile Adam says some sort of swear in pretty much every sentence. Aside from his songs in the show, there is basically nothing I like about this guy. And his sidekick Lute, well, I understand she's supposed to be a bigger threat in season 2, possibly, since Adam is dead and she's in charge, but in season 1 she feels like such a nothing character. She's just there. Speaking of angels, let's talk about Syrah. She's okay, maybe we'll see her more in season 2. So basically, she was a Ceramyth that agreed to have the extermination for population control and didn't want anyone else but her and Adam and the Exorcist to know about this. And when her younger sister Emily finds out, she manipulates her to not talk about it, reminding her what happened to Lucifer when one tried to stray away too far from the rules heaven has. That's really it. There isn't too much about her either. The next villains I want to talk about is the V's. First up, Valentino, because he had a lot more from him than the other two V's. Besides, Vox seems like he's going to be the main villain for the next season, and it actually looks pretty good. But pretty much everyone can objectively agree that Valentino just straight up sucks. Like, he is a piece of garbage, and the way he treats Angel Dust is actually disgusting. So at least he is a relatively good villain. With the other two V's, Fox is okay. I like the fact that he's a TV demon and he has the ability to control electronics and cause kind of a hypnosis on other demons when they watch his screens. With Velvet, I legit forgot her name just like Nifty working on the script because she's honestly kind of forgettable season 1. She's this fashion designer and social media manager for the V's, but that's really it. Like guys, I can't for the life of me think of a single real evil thing about her aside from her just being rude to other overlords and demons. The only good thing I really like about her the most is the song Respectless, because honestly, overall she's kind of annoying. Lastly, while Alistair isn't someone I'd call a villain, at least in this season, he's more of an antagonist if anything. He doesn't really do all that much. Yeah, you see him use his powers, but honestly, it feels like he's kind of just in the background. He does have a lot of funny moments at least, but they hype him up to be this extremely powerful demon in his backstory that took down powerful overlords and became known as the Radio Demon. But overall, he's kind of a goofball more than he's actually scary. Speaking of funny scenes, it's time that we get into the humor of the show. It's not the best. There are some times I did snicker, but this show of course suffers the same problems helluvaboss has with its humor. Everyone, I want you to say with me, okay? Swearing and sexual jokes does not equal mature humor. Now, don't get me wrong, I can deal with raunchy humor. I can even find it funny sometimes, but you gotta do it right for it to actually be good. It's just crude swearing left and right, and it gets very repetitive and boring because everyone does it. This show and helluvaboss basically started a meme you probably saw at least once of if insert media was written by VisiPop, and it's just a character saying a swear word every couple of seconds because that's basically sums up VisiPop's writing. If you were to take a shot every time they said a swear or sexual joke, you would be in the hospital. I think one of my least favorite jokes from the show are from Angel Dust. Remember how I said earlier in this video I was going to get into why I don't like him that much? Well, now is the time for me to actually explain why. Just like the jokes in helluvaboss, if Angel Dust was a straight man and Husk was a woman, no one would be laughing at this. Just like with Stolas harassing Blitz, Angel Dust cannot keep his hands to himself. He is always touching on Husk to the point that Husk has to push him away to try to stop him. He makes Husk extremely uncomfortable. In episode 4, Angel Dust even goes as far to guilt trip Husk, saying how lucky he is that he's even coming on to him, how much money he's worth, how any demon would love to have a chance with him. Now, I want you to imagine if Angel Dust was straight and Husk was a woman. If this sounds disgusting to you, it should. While Angel Dust is treated horribly by Valentino and suffers trauma because of him, that does not give him the excuse to subject another demon to that trauma as well. And that's why I don't really like Angel Dust after watching this show anymore. Now, I have to ask, why is this shown as bad, but this is shown as funny? It's like Veronica and her friends assaulting Moxie all over again. It's the same joke and it's still completely unfunny. It's more tonal whiplash. Alright, so this part is going to be short and the only thing I will praise this show for. The music. I really like the songs. A lot of them are quite catchy and they have a variety of different genres. This is the one thing in the show I have more to like than dislike. But songs like Whatever It Takes, More Than Anything, It Starts With Sorry, wasn't really my cup of tea. I don't know, when I watched them, I was kind of just waiting for these songs to end. They didn't really stick with me, but I'm sure there's at least someone who likes these songs. Other than that, most of the songs are quite memorable and the music videos of them are quite entertaining. The backgrounds have a variety of bright, beautiful colors, which is such a refreshment. Adam's and Lute's song is the only thing I like about these two, because it's very entertaining to listen to. Angel Dust and Husk singing Loser Baby was nice to see, and Angel Dust having the development that there is someone to talk to about his problems, at least sympathize with him. And just like I said in my very first Hazbinhotel video, Stay Gone is still my top favorite song. Fox and Alistar being petty at each other while singing is my favorite part. Music and the animation is very good. If you're gonna watch this show, you should definitely do it for the songs at least. This show definitely has a lot of issues, and I'm really hoping season 2 will be better. I would be lying if I said I wasn't at least excited for season 2, because at least it looks good. From the visuals to the characters to the story, there is a lot that could be done better. It honestly does feel like a letdown, and I really hope season 2 won't be as fast. They really need to challenge both Heaven's lack of knowing what gets you into heaven and challenge Charlie's ideas that anyone can get into heaven if they rehabilitate enough. And I do hope we see scenes of the angels plotting, especially Lute. Lilith most likely is going to be in the season, and I'm curious how this is going to go. But that's all for this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. It really helps my channel. Let me know in the comments things you like about Hazbinhotel. Please check out my main Tumblr where I am making an AU comic. That would mean a lot to me. And the ask box is open for anyone who wants to leave questions for the characters. And as always, stay amazing, you stars.